Good day. Just coming to you with a quick video today to celebrate Mufasa the Lion King, or as I like to call it, MuFLOPsa, flopping at the box office, because while MuFLOPsa might not outright bomb because of its budget, it doesn't look like it's doing too well. It only had a $35 million domestic opening, and that is under even their most moderate expectations of $37 million. And worldwide, it has made over $100 million, which is good. The international market really came in. Darn you guys, you should have refused this movie. But all that said, even with that, it is not doing so well. So I would like to just say to you all, my faith in humanity is restored. That I was getting worried there. I was getting worried because with all of the live action remakes that have been greenlit, I wondered if Disney was just blaming the bombing of The Little Mermaid and the impending bombing of Snow White on, oh, people just didn't like the race bending, because Disney will always blame it on the wrong thing. However, I was getting worried there with seeing people's hype, or some people's hype, with How to Train Your Dragon and Lilo and Stitch, that maybe people do just want these live action remakes still, as long as they're exactly the way that people remember the originals, as long as they look exactly the same. But MuFLOPsa, has proven otherwise, because while it isn't a live action remake, it is in that vein. This is a prequel to a billion-dollar movie, which was at one point the highest grossing animated film of all time. But MuFLOPsa is another one in the very long line of films that have come out in 2019 that failed to deliver. We have The Marvels, Joker, Filet à Deux, whatever, I don't care about pronouncing that right, and MuFLOPsa. So I'm very pleased that this movie is not doing well. I'm not, that sounded terrible when I just said it. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody who worked on this film or who slaved over it. It's just that I think that people's skills could go to something a whole lot better. I think that this kind of ilk of live action remakes is really soulless. To get into the meat of the MuFLOPsa plot, though, is it a movie that's worthy of bombing? Well, I just say this as a person who has seen such horrible films this year. I have been an avid moviegoer for years now, and I have to say 2024 is the worst year I have ever experienced as a moviegoer, in terms of not just how many bad films they were, but the magnitude of just how bad the bad films were. So I've seen Borderlands, Joker 2, Venom 3, Madam Web, I skipped Kraven the Hunter, Gladiator 2, just so many films this year, just of Argyle. Oh my gosh, this has been a long year. So many films of such a magnitude of badness, and my expectations for MuFLOPsa were so low that when I watched it, I'll just say it wasn't the worst movie I've seen all year. It wasn't the worst movie ever made, despite how much I disliked the marketing for it. However, it still wasn't good. I think the main takeaway people are saying is that it's boring. I wouldn't disagree with that. The person I was with was really bored during the movie. And so, yeah, it's not good. It's not worth your time. It's definitely not going to get a higher box office than it is now. But the reason why I wasn't so bored with it as I was of the Lion King 2019, and that I was just dead in the theater, is because at least this was a different story, for one thing, even though it's a very generic one. At least I didn't always know what was going to happen, so I wasn't that bored. And the other thing that made it a little bit better is that, well, the one thing that they fixed from the Lion King 2019 is now the lions have expressions. And sometimes it goes too far, to the point where it just gets kind of comical, and the realistic lions that they're trying to portray here just look like humans, like anthropomorphized lions. They should have just made this an animated movie, full-blown animated movie, not trying to make it realistic at all, if they were going to, because with the aesthetic of this, and this is getting into the negatives, I think that this is the big turnoff to these films, is the aesthetic is still really ugly, because I'm not sure how much they shot on location for this film, but it doesn't really matter, because during the film, my eyes are so trained to see just the CGI lions that are clearly not real, and there must have been so much of the landscape that was also CGI. it just all looked fake to me. And it's really ugly because in their attempt to make it look real, they really make it look dusty and gray and brown. And so there's exceptions to that rule. But overall, it's just really unpleasant to look at. And you can't tell one character from the other because they all look like, quote unquote, realistic lions. And so many times in the movie, I had to go, okay, this is this character, this is that character, they all look the same. That's really difficult. I guess I am getting into the bashing the movie territory. But just to explain just what's really wrong with this movie, apart from just carryovers from The Lion King 2019, this is a paper-thin plot that's really characters just need to get from X place to Y place. So many cliches stuffed into the film, which would have been just throwaway if it was like an hour and a half long, but it's well over 2 hours. And so the movie, this very paper-thin plot just carries on forever and goes on, and it has these intercuts back to, I almost called him Daniel Baboon, that's from Kimba. Rafiki telling the story and having Timon and Pumbaa do little bits in between it, but they're the same bits each time, which got really annoying. So it's just really a paper-thin plot drawn out too long. The songs in this movie were also really terrible. I'm not sure if I've ever seen songs worse integrated into a plot than here, where they would start so randomly. There was no transition into them. They were very forgettable, except one, which was one of the villain songs that, because it was just so bad, it's memorable. And you could tell that Lin-Manuel Miranda is the one who wrote them. It sounded like he would be the one singing them with the cadence of these songs. Anyway, that's terrible. Mufasa and the characters, they're fine, but it's like, I'm not sure that we needed an origin story for like Rafiki's stick or these characters meeting each other. We've already gone through that there were no implications in the original Lion King that Scar and Mufasa were anything other than biological brothers. And they even give you the origin story of Pride Rock in this movie because an earthquake hits out of nowhere and it forms Pride Rock, and that part made me cringe so bad. This movie has prequelitis like I haven't seen before. But the worst part of all of that, like, none of it is offensive. I wouldn't take this as like the origin story of Mufasa because it just doesn't seem to add up. But I think the worst part of it was what they tried to do as the origin of Scar. Because what he's done, and if you've seen the trailers, you've seen this, they have him be an adoptive brother of Mufasa, and named Taka at one point, and they make him just very much this quirky, insecure, scared lion, and he's supposed to be king of his pride before all those characters get killed off, but he never shows like this desire for power or anything sort of conniving. He's just a cowardly, insecure lion who seems like he really wants to have a brother, he really wants to have a family. You never get like this lust for power from her or anything evil. And here's the big kicker. In the movie, they just do such a bad job of doing any kind of build up to him becoming evil or being jealous of Mufasa. He doesn't even seem like he really wants to be a king or a leader, even though that's what he's told he has to be. But here's the kicker. Here's why Scar went evil, everyone. Because he was in love with Zarabi, someone who he'd known for a couple days, but Zarabi fell in love with Mufasa, even though Mufasa was trying to be the wingman for his brother and try to get Zarabi to fall in love with Taka, aka Scar. And so there was nothing foul about it. She just, even though Scar can hear Mufasa telling Zarabi, no, you should go with him. But this one event of Mufasa stealing Taka's not girlfriend literally like changes his character on a molecular level. Like he goes from literally there's no transition. He just was this character, and then Mufasa stole his not girlfriend, and he becomes Jeremy Irons Scar all of a sudden, with the voice and the way he walks kind of low to the ground and the conniving, and he tries to sell them out and get them all killed. And it's like, I don't believe that this scared little lion cub who's quirky and can't talk to female lions is transforming into Jeremy Irons Scar. Where did the lust for power come from? It was a complete 180 all of a sudden. Not even a 180, just a completely different character. That was really terrible and unbelievable, and it's one of those things that makes you think, why did we need this movie to give a context that doesn't even fit to the original Lion King? I don't know. The one good thing about this movie is it canonized Kiara further, even though she didn't really act like the one in The Lion King 2. But yeah, it's not. It should have been this movie seems like the kind of thing that would have been much shorter as an animated direct to DVD film from Disney back when they were doing that. It's not worthy of a theatrical release. Is it the worst movie I've seen all year? No, but it's not worthy of like the big December Christmas movie. I bet they thought that this was going to be the same as The Lion King 2019, but I don't think that that's the case. But yeah, MuFLOPsa wasn't worth it. I'm glad that people are showing Disney that they don't like this kind of film. However, unfortunately, I think that Disney has yet to really understand that people are done with the things in the vein of the live action remakes. I think that they're just going to blame this on being a prequel, or that the live action of the Lions just isn't working. But so we have a long way to go yet. But I'm glad that this movie season, this movie year is over because it's been so bad. Did you watch MuFLOPsa The Lion King? Do you have any intentions to? Let me know in the comments below. I will have more videos out very soon. Merry Christmas, everybody, and I will see you guys next time.